So now the real question isn't whether the quantum field responds. It's whether you're willing to live as the signal it cannot ignore. Will you keep broadcasting the old vibration of doubt, or will you finally choose alignment that collapses a new timeline? Think about it. What state are you carrying in your body right now? What emotions are you feeding daily? Because those signals are already shaping tomorrow's proof. What if, instead of waiting for reality to show you something different, you became the broadcast of what you seek? Imagine how your life would shift if silence became your daily practice, if coherence replaced contradiction, if your body walked as the future self instead of the old one. Would you recognize how much control you've had all along? Or would you still pretend reality is fixed, forgetting that the observer is the one writing the script? This isn't just theory, it's a call to stop scattering your energy like a lamp and start living as a laser of coherence. So here's my challenge for you. Which frequency will you broadcast today? Which version of yourself are you ready to embody? Tell me in the comments. I want to know what state you choose to live from now on. And if you're serious about shifting your timeline, don't let this be the last moment you touch this knowledge. Subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and stay inside this field of reminders. Because every time you return, you're tuning the signal a little clearer, and the clearer the broadcast, the faster reality responds. He often said that reality isn't something happening out there. It's something constantly shaped by the frequency you broadcast. Imagine a radio. You are both the transmitter and the receiver. If you tune into static, you don't blame the station, you shift the dial. The quantum field works the same way. It doesn't listen to words, it listens to vibration. Thoughts are important, but if your body and emotions are stuck in lack, the signal you send is still scarcity, no matter what mantra you repeat. Think about it. Saying, "I'm abundant," while secretly feeling empty is like yelling at a radio to change songs without ever turning the knob. The field doesn't decode your language, it decodes your state. This is why alignment matters more than repetition. You can't fool energy. It picks up coherence or incoherence instantly. People often confuse manifestation with affirmations alone, but affirmations are like whispers. If your frequency is screaming something else, the whispers get drowned out. He remembered a season in life when every external effort failed. The body carried stress, the emotions carried doubt, and even though the thoughts were positive, the broadcast was fractured. Then came a shift. Instead of forcing change, he asked, "What if I embodied the version of me who already lives the proof of this reality?" That question created a timeline where control turned into surrender, and surrender turned into alignment. Within weeks, unexpected opportunities unfolded without a single forced push. Energy doesn't respond to hope, it responds to coherence. The observer within isn't just thinking, it's embodying. That's the subtle difference most people miss. He tells the story of walking into a meeting once, shoulders straight, calm breath, heart steady. Not because he rehearsed words, but because his state was already tuned. The outcome flipped entirely. The vibration carried through body language and shifted the frequency of the entire room. Reality wasn't convinced by words, it was convinced by alignment. The beauty is, your signal is adjustable at any moment. Just like twisting a radio knob, small shifts in breathing, posture, or even the tone of your inner dialogue create a new broadcast. And when the body begins to align with thoughts, emotions naturally follow. Suddenly, coherence appears, and the field responds. The manifestation isn't magic, it's physics at play. The quantum field simply mirrors the vibration it receives, like a perfectly honest reflection that never lies. He laughs when he recalls how he once tried to convince reality with affirmations taped on the wall. Every morning he would repeat them, but deep down, the body carried tension, and the emotions whispered, doubt. Nothing moved. But when he stopped fighting and instead lived as though the frequency was already his, life shifted. The observer had finally aligned with the state he wanted, and reality collapsed around that identity. No effort, no begging, just coherence. So when you think about manifestation, ask yourself, what station are you really tuned to? Are your words saying one thing, but your body and emotions broadcasting another? Remember, the field never lies. It reflects the actual vibration, not the desired one. And the moment you choose to change your inner frequency, the external timeline begins to rearrange itself. The question is, are you ready to see what happens when coherence replaces contradiction? Science has shown us something extraordinary: the observer effect. Simply watching changes the outcome. Reality doesn't sit there fixed. It shifts under the gaze of attention. Imagine shining a light in a dark room. If it's a lamp, the energy disperses everywhere, soft and unfocused. But when that same energy is channeled into a laser, suddenly it cuts through steel. That's the difference between scattered thoughts and coherent alignment. The quantum field listens more to coherence than intensity. Your body and your emotions are like antennas, broadcasting energy every second. The heart, for example, produces a magnetic field far stronger than the brain, radiating into the environment like invisible waves. When heart and mind are in alignment, coherence emerges, and the signal sent to the field is amplified. People feel it. Walk into a room with anxiety, and the air tightens. Walk in with calm coherence, and even silence feels safe. That's the silent proof of vibration at work. He recalls a personal turning point, the day he learned to silence his racing thoughts. At first it felt impossible. Mind chatter kept bouncing like static noise, but by slowing the breath, syncing the heart rhythm, and holding a steady emotional state, something clicked. It wasn't effort, it was ease. Suddenly, the frequency shifted. He noticed reality responding. Conversations flowed smoother, opportunities emerged, timelines rearranged without control. That coherence became a doorway into manifestation. Think of coherence like music. When instruments play out of sync, the sound is noise. When they align, the vibration moves people to tears. The same with your inner state. If thoughts say yes, but the body says no, the field hears noise. But when thoughts, emotions, and body vibrate in harmony, the energy becomes a song the quantum field can't ignore. That harmony is the signal that collapses possibilities into proof. The trick is, coherence isn't forced. You don't make the heart and brain align by sheer will. You allow it by calming the nervous system, creating space for energy to flow naturally. Practices like heart-focused breathing or even simple gratitude shift the vibration instantly. Gratitude isn't a cliché, it's a frequency. It's like flipping a switch from lamp to laser. Suddenly, the observer is no longer passive. He's directing reality with quiet precision. And here lies the paradox. Control doesn't create coherence. Surrender does. He tells of moments when he tried to force results, pushing thoughts, repeating mantras until exhaustion. Nothing worked. But when he let go, relaxed the body, and synced emotions with a chosen state, coherence appeared. That's when reality shifted, gently, almost playfully, proving the field was listening not to noise, but to pure alignment. So, coherence is less about doing and more about being. It's the silent broadcast of the heart and mind in rhythm, a state of vibration that tells the quantum field, this is who I am. And when that proof is consistent, the timeline bends accordingly. The only question left is, what happens when you stop scattering your energy like a lamp and begin to live as a laser beam of focused coherence? The beauty of manifestation is that it's not some mystical lottery. It's a method, a sequence that anyone can apply because the quantum field responds to signals, not wishes. Step 1 is simple: calm the body. When the body is restless, the frequency is noisy. By practicing conscious breathing, slow inhales, slow exhales, you activate the vagus nerve. That signal tells the nervous system you are safe, and when the body relaxes, the vibration instantly shifts. Step 2. Feel as if it's already done. This isn't pretending, it's embodying. Imagination plus emotion creates a new energetic signature. Think of it like broadcasting on a new station. If you want abundance, don't just think it. Feel the state of already having it. For example, instead of wishing for confidence, sit upright, breathe deeply, and smile lightly. Your body and emotions begin to align, sending the quantum field proof of a new identity. Step 3. Give the internal command, then release. Say to yourself, "It is done." Not with desperation, but with coherence. Imagine planting a seed. Once buried, you don't dig it up every day to check if it's growing. Obsessive checking scatters the frequency. True manifestation is trust in the timeline. When you release, you shift from control to alignment, and the signal becomes clean. That release is often the missing piece in people's manifestation practice. Step 4. Watch for micro signs of alignment. Reality responds with whispers before it shouts. A chance conversation, a sudden idea, even a feeling in the body can be signals. He recalls walking through a bookstore once when a book literally fell off the shelf. It was exactly the guidance needed at that stage. Coincidence? Or the quantum field rearranging itself in response to a vibration? These micro signals are proof that your broadcast is being received. To apply this daily, create a ritual. Begin with breath. Embody the state. Declare, then let go. It takes less than 10 minutes, but the shift is profound. Think of it like tuning a guitar. If even one string is off, the song feels wrong. But when each string is tightened just enough, the sound vibrates in harmony. That's what alignment does. It tunes thoughts, emotions, and body into coherence, sending a powerful broadcast to the field. He remembers a personal experiment. After practicing this method for weeks, a job opportunity appeared out of nowhere. He hadn't applied, hadn't begged. Someone simply reached out. The timeline shifted because the internal state had shifted first. That experience broke the old belief that manifestation required force. Instead, it revealed that coherence, broadcast with consistency, collapses reality into form. Manifestation isn't about control, it's about frequency. And that's the paradox worth exploring. The less you force, the more proof arrives. The method isn't rigid, it's fluid, like water adapting to the container, and once you taste the ease of manifestation through alignment, the old way of struggling feels obsolete. The question that lingers is, what happens when invisible saboteurs, those subtle doubts and inner narratives, try to hijack the signal you're broadcasting? One of the biggest challenges isn't learning the method, it's spotting the invisible saboteurs that creep in. You breathe, you align, you broadcast the right frequency, and then, out of habit, you check the result with anxiety. That tiny act sends a conflicting signal to the quantum field. It's like planting a seed and then constantly digging it up to see if it's growing. The vibration of doubt overrides the vibration of trust, and the timeline stalls. Another silent saboteur is slipping back into the old self. Even after a strong alignment, if reality throws a curveball, people often react as their former identity. For example, saying, "See, nothing ever works for me." That state broadcasts scarcity again. The field isn't punishing, it's reflecting. The observer can't expect new manifestations while vibrating with old emotions. Alignment means holding the frequency, even when conditions test it. Control is another trickster. Many want to dictate how reality should deliver. They declare abundance, but secretly micromanage every detail, narrowing the flow. It's like telling the river exactly which rocks to avoid instead of trusting it to reach the ocean. The quantum field doesn't need directions. It needs coherence. When you over-control, you broadcast resistance. Letting go of how is what keeps the vibration pure and the manifestation possible. Then there are the inner narratives, the quiet stories that run beneath the surface. I'm not good enough. Things like that don't happen to people like me. These thoughts may not be spoken aloud, but the body feels them. Shoulders slump, breath shortens, and emotions tighten. That's a broadcast. He recalls a time when almost everything collapsed because of this internal sabotage. The words were positive, but the signal was contradiction. The field responded with mixed proof. Treating manifestation as a mechanical task is another invisible trap. Repeating affirmations, meditations, or rituals without emotional engagement turns them into empty motions. The quantum field isn't moved by routine, it's moved by genuine vibration. It's the difference between saying, "I love you" as a habit, and saying it with real emotion. Reality responds to coherence, not checklists. Without authentic energy, the broadcast falls flat, and the timeline remains unchanged. He once experienced this firsthand. After weeks of desperate effort, he reached a breaking point, almost despair. And in that surrender, something shifted. The emotions softened, the body relaxed, the thoughts quieted. Within days, what he had been forcing appeared naturally. The irony was clear. The moment he stopped trying so hard, the field finally had space to align. The proof came not from force, but from the absence of it. So invisible saboteurs are less about the world outside and more about the state within. They whisper in old voices, tempt you to check results or pull you back into control. And unless they're recognized, they fracture the signal. But once seen, they lose power. And then the question emerges. If the field isn't just listening to your thoughts, but also to your body's unspoken signals, how does the body itself become part of the observer's broadcast? Most people think manifestation is all about thoughts, but the body is an observer too. The quantum field doesn't just read what you say, it reads what your muscles, breath, and posture broadcast. If your mind says abundance, but your shoulders are tense, the signal is incoherent. Reality responds not to the wish, but to the full body vibration. Every movement is a message, every breath a frequency. The body is constantly broadcasting proof of your inner state. Think of posture as an antenna. Slouching whispers lack, while standing tall signals confidence. He once tested this before an important meeting. Instead of repeating affirmations, he adjusted his body. Deep breaths, shoulders back, chest open. Suddenly, the room shifted. People responded differently. Opportunities unfolded. The field wasn't impressed by words, it was aligned with the vibration his body carried. The observer is not just in the head, it's embodied. The body also stores emotional signatures from the past. Trauma, fear, even subtle disappointments leave imprints. These old frequencies replay like a stuck radio station, no matter what thoughts try to override. He recalls walking into a situation where logic said, "All is fine," but the body trembled with old fear. That trembling was a broadcast, and reality mirrored it. This is why re-educating the body is essential for coherence and alignment. One practical way is through movement. Move the body as if the manifestation is already here. Want joy? Dance to music like it's already yours. Want success? Walk with the posture of someone who owns their path. Want love? Breathe and smile as if you're already loved. These aren't empty acts, they're vibrational commands. The quantum field responds to that state because the body has shifted the frequency from memory to manifestation. He once used clothing as a tool. Instead of waiting for abundance to arrive, he dressed as if abundance had already chosen him. It wasn't about luxury brands, it was about coherence. A clean shirt, intentional details, a confident step. That broadcast became alignment, and soon reality reflected it. The body spoke a language the field understood, and opportunities started aligning with the signal. Sometimes small changes collapse big timelines. Breath is another powerful key. When the body breathes shallowly, it broadcasts fear. When it breathes deeply, it signals safety. Try this. Inhale slowly for 4 counts. Exhale for 6. Repeat until the body relaxes. That rhythm tells the field, I'm already aligned. He practiced this daily, and the proof was undeniable. Situations that once triggered anxiety began to unfold with ease. The observer, through the body, shifted the frequency of entire experiences. So the body is not just a passenger, it's a co-creator. Every gesture, every breath, every micro-expression sends a vibration into the field. The question is, if silence is where the field listens most deeply, how does one enter that stillness where the body, mind, and heart all fall into coherence, creating a clear channel for reality to respond? Silence is often misunderstood. People think it's empty, but in truth, silence is a channel. It's in the stillness that the quantum field reflects most clearly. Picture a lake. When the surface is agitated, the reflection is distorted. But when the water is calm, reality mirrors with precision. The same happens with the mind and body. When emotions, thoughts, and breath settle into coherence, the field reads a pure signal. That's when manifestation takes form. He remembers a time when nothing seemed to move forward. No proof, no results, just waiting. At first, frustration crept in, but then he surrendered into silence. Days of deep presence, sitting in stillness, no affirmations, no forcing. And in that quiet alignment emerged naturally. Without warning, doors opened. The timeline shifted not because of effort, but because silence allowed vibration to broadcast without resistance. Reality responded to what was finally clear. Silence doesn't mean passivity, it means tuning in. Like adjusting a radio, the absence of noise lets you find the exact frequency. Practices like meditation, mindful walking, or simply sitting in nature create this shift. He often sat beneath a tree, breathing slowly until the chatter of thoughts dissolved. In that state, he felt the field moving, as if invisible gears were aligning. The observer wasn't pushing, he was listening, and reality echoed back. The paradox is that silence feels unproductive to the old self. We're conditioned to do more, but silence teaches that being is the most powerful broadcast. In silence, the heart's energy expands, the body relaxes, and emotions soften. That's coherence. The quantum field doesn't need your words, it needs your state. And in that state, the signal vibrates so clearly that the timeline reorganizes around it. Manifestation happens not by shouting, but by listening. He created a small ritual. Every morning, 5 minutes of pure silence. Eyes closed, body still, attention on the heart. At first, the mind resisted, racing with to-do lists. But slowly, the practice rewired the body. Emotions stabilized, thoughts quieted, and a deeper alignment surfaced. Those mornings became proof. The calmer the start, the smoother the day unfolded. Silence wasn't absence, it was presence. And presence is the frequency the field responds to. Once, in a season of uncertainty, silence became the turning point. He recalls sitting quietly, no answers in sight, when an idea landed so effortlessly it felt delivered. That idea became the seed of a timeline shift that changed everything. Had he been rushing or forcing, he would have missed it. Silence wasn't nothing, it was the broadcast space where new reality entered. The observer had finally stopped talking long enough to hear the response. So silence is where the magic happens. not as emptiness, but as alignment. It's the state where the observer's body, emotions and thoughts all fall quiet, and the quantum field finally has room to echo back with coherence. The question left hanging is this: if silence is the doorway, what happens when we step fully through it and allow reality to reflect more than we ever dared to imagine? What if the reality you're chasing isn't waiting ahead of you but watching you right now? Most people believe they need to fight harder, think louder, hustle longer, yet the more they push, the more life seems to slip through their fingers. Strange, isn't it? The harder you try to control reality, the less control you actually feel. And maybe that's because reality doesn't listen to your words. It listens to your frequency. Imagine this: your thoughts say one thing, but your body whispers another, and your emotions scream the opposite. Which one do you think the quantum field hears? Not the words. It responds to the strongest signal, the one vibrating in coherence. That's why people repeat affirmations for years and still wonder why nothing shifts. Because manifestation isn't about what you say, it's about what you broadcast when no one's watching. You might feel exhausted from chasing timelines, from waiting for proof that never comes. But here's the paradox: the proof shows up not when you demand it, but when you become it. Reality bends to the observer who aligns, not the one who begs. And the moment you realize your state of being is the true command, everything begins to shift. The question is, are you ready to turn silence, coherence, and vibration into the language reality actually understands? You don't attract what you want, you collapse what you consistently observe. Reality isn't about wishes floating in the air, it's about frequency, coherence, and presence. These three pillars shape every timeline you step into. Frequency is the signal you broadcast. Coherence is the alignment of thoughts, emotions, and body. Presence is the state where the field finally listens. Together, they're the silent proof that you are the observer and the creator. So here's the challenge. For the next 24 hours, live as if you already are. Not half-heartedly, but fully. Walk, breathe, and speak as though the manifestation has already collapsed into form. Don't check, don't beg. Simply observe what unfolds when you hold that state. You'll notice micro-shifts, synchronicities, subtle proofs that the field is rearranging itself. Because the universe doesn't respond to anxiety, it responds to coherence. And that leads to a deeper question, one that will unfold in our next journey together. What if success isn't something you chase, but something already observing you right now? Now it's your turn to seal this practice. Write in the comments: I am in control of my reality. Let that be your vibrational signature, your proof of alignment. If this message resonated with you, hit the like button, subscribe, and activate notifications so you don't miss the next step. And don't keep this field to yourself. Share it with someone who's ready to jump timelines. Because if today you understood that you collapse reality by what you observe, the next revelation is even greater. Discovering how success itself has been observing you all along.